everyone. Is there anyone new to our service? Just good friends? Just a reminder to turn off your cell phone. And our guest musicians today are Eddie and William, who can do a duet, and our one-minute reader is Wanda.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Wanda. I feel like I'm in an AA. He that loveth his brother abideth in the light, and there is none occasion of stumbling in him. The best portion of a good man's life are his little nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and of love. In his book, The Fruit of the Spirit, H.B. Jeffrey said, "The Orientals say that by kind thoughts, kind words, and kind deeds, man enters paradise." He continues, never withhold the kind word which opportunity offers for you to speak, for it may cause a new birth in the life of some wayfarer, opening his eyes to new vistas, and directing his feet toward the very path that leads to the purpose for which he was born. A simple, gentle act of kindness may remold a life and lift someone from a place of mediocrity and ineffectiveness to a sphere of great nobility and power. God works by means of us, and especially in those experiences where we are inspired to share a kind word that gives comfort, or courage, or peace of mind to another. A word that inspires another to see life in a new light. Sometimes someone will remind us years later about our kindness to him, for he remembers that his life was blessed. When the kind of act is free of self, without thought of personal gain, it becomes a thing of beauty and an expression of love that lasts forever. Affirm now, divine love expressed in me and through me inspires me to speak words that are kind, helpful, and full of hope.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. Our opening hymn today was chosen in honor of Memorial Day. It'll be number 15, A Prayer for Peace. We'll sing verses 1, 2, and 3. Number 15, A Prayer for Peace. Number 1, 2, and 3.
Our Bible verse, excuse me. Our Bible verse this morning, it's full of promises. It's full of good cheer, good news. It's from Psalm 121, 3 through 7 through 8. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. What a wonderful bunch of promises. And we forget to ask that those promises be expressed in our lives. We forget. We think that we have to carry it all. We think that, well, this is something that I'm going to do, I have to do it. When we have so much help available, we have God assuring us, not just in these few verses from the 121st Psalm, we have them all over the Bible. We have men of God saying them not just for a few times, but for hundreds of times over 25, 30 centuries. Can we take their word? Can we rely on what they're saying being true? Can we be assured that God was speaking through them and saying, yeah, I'm here for you. I'm here to help. Call on me. He doesn't slumber. He is the keeper. He shades us from those events, those challenges, those situations of ourselves or our loved ones. He preserves them and us from evil, from things that they can't help, we can't help, that just happen. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in. But wherever you are, God is there. Can we take this to heart and utilize it? Jesus stood at the grave of Lazarus, who had been dead for 3 days. The body was decomposing. Can you imagine standing there and saying, I knew thou hearest me always. And then saying, Lazarus, come forth. The inner pressure, my word, it would curdle most of us. But it didn't curdle Jesus, because he knew that he could take hold of that hand and it would unfold in divine word. Let's do that. Let's follow his example. I knew thou hearest me always. He does. He is omnipresent within and without, in every situation and condition, in every place, in every clime, every culture. What a wondrous thing. What a useful thing. What a helpful thing. Let it help you every day. Every day. Shall we say our divine science statement of being? You will find in your orders of service if you haven't memorized it. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God and am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
The wind of His Spirit blowing through our land, and the proof of God's presence is being seen on every hand, like a gentle breeze from heaven, like a rebel loving King. God is pouring out His blessing on His children everywhere. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's peace. Where the Spirit there is love. darkest hour, there is light and light. There is help and power in the Spirit, in the Spirit of the Lord. Like a gentle breeze from heaven, it's like a breath of love and care. God is pouring out His blessings on His children everywhere. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is peace. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is love. There is comfort in life's darkest hour. There is light and light. There is help and power in the Spirit, in the Spirit of the Lord. There is comfort in life's darkest hour. There is light and light. There is help and power in the Spirit of the Lord.
It's now time for our healing meditation. That time during the week when, even if you don't do it at any other time, you get still and just be with God. Take our prayer requests and your prayer requests in consciousness. I hold these pieces of paper in my hand, and yet if they were translated into the weight, the emotional, the mental, the physical weight that they represent, I couldn't possibly hold them. And that so often is the case with each and every one of us. If our and those whom we love, those whom we cherish and care for, if those troubles could be translated into a weighty object, no one could hold it except God. And how grateful we are that He can and He does. Truer words were never spoken when Jesus said, "I can of my own self do nothing." He spoke for all of us. Whether we know it or not, no matter how powerful we think we are, how expert, how practiced, we can't do it ourselves. But with God, yes, it's accomplished. It's done. Today we keep in mind those who served our country, who sometimes lay down their lives. There has been so much blood and treasure hopes and dreams wrapped up in those people. Today we honor them. Tomorrow we respect and remember them. And we certainly thank them for their sacrifice, for caring for their fellows so much that they did heroic things to help one another. But as our hymn said, let us pray for that time when there is no more war, there is truly peace around the world. We give thanks to God in advance for that time. But not only peace around the world, but peace within every human breast. Peace within. For the next 90 seconds, shall we practice peace? Shall we hold in our hearts, in our minds, in our feelings, that promise that peace is available, starting with me, right now? Come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And he will give us inner peace and rest as we turn to him. This day, behold in the light all those who are experiencing war. Not just the physical kind, on battlefields far away, but sometimes wars within their own bodies, wars within their own minds, wars among them and family members or others. We hold them each and all in the light. Today, we say special prayers for Nancy. We behold her filled with the light of God, the light of life. We hold in consciousness David. We hold him too, in the light of pure divine being. The light, Eli, knowing that God is blessing and helping her right now. hold your loved ones, your friends, those who served and those who did not. We hold the whole world in the healing light of God, knowing that our thoughts, our prayers make a difference. They make a positive difference in this world. For this and so much more, we give deepest thanks. Amen. Shall we say the affirmative version of the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed is thy name. Thy kingdom is come, thy will is done on earth as it is in heaven. Thou givest us this day our daily bread. Thou forgivest us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Thou leadest us not into temptation, but dost deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Well, my sermon title this morning is Build Your House on a Rock. And it's taken, of course, from that familiar verse from Matthew 7th chapter, 24th through the 27th verses. It's Jesus speaking, and he's saying, Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell. And great was the fall of it. I guess a number of you knew that last weekend I spent in northern Alabama with my daughter, Lisa, and her partner, Trish. They have a very unusual, very remarkable home, and it's built on a mountain bluff with a foundation largely on rock. So this passage from Matthew came to mind very, very strongly, and that would be a good thing to talk about. Now, this house, as I said, is very unusual, very unique. Its walls are made of insulated formed concrete. Now, I never heard about such a way to build a house. I'd never heard of this type of construction. Maybe you have, but I haven't. But the walls are composed of, and Mark saw them before they all went up, and they were like huge Lego blocks. And they had about 2.5 inches of high-density foam on the outside, and then 6 inches or more empty, and then another 2.5, close to 3 inches of foam on the inside. And then these rebars were put in there, and concrete was poured down into this form. And so the reinforced concrete and the outside and inside foam resulted in walls that were super strong. They have an R value of 50, believe it or not. They're impervious, of course, to insects, and insects can't get in. I mean, of course, there's nothing to eat when they get there, either, if they could get in, which they can't. The house has high-quality windows and doors. It's almost like a fortress. It really is. And it makes for the most wonderfully quiet, comfortable home. Trish and Lisa have a geothermal heat pump to heat the house. Now, I'd heard about that, but I didn't know how it worked. And how it works is that they put in a well 200 feet deep, and then they have pipes going up and down. This is a separate well just for this. The water circulates through these several pipes that go up and down 200 feet. You know, the ground, except for the first 5 feet, which is influenced by, of course, the weather, heat or cold. But underneath that 5 feet or so, all the way down, it's a constant temperature of 59 to 60 degrees. So it is being changed to that temperature every time it goes up and down, which is constant. So water flows down these 200-foot pipes, and this heat pump cools, or rather, and heats that air. And they have this very efficient, very reliable, low-cost, low-maintenance heating and cooling system. They have a metal roof that might just last 100 years. The peak of the ceiling over this open living room, dining room, kitchen area is 14 feet high. Then, of course, there's a fan up there that keeps going to keep circulating the air. And all the water that comes in to the house is both filtered and softened. The outside of the house is covered with concrete planks. They're attractive looking. Part of it sort of looks like rock. But I'll tell you, I think the very best feature in that remarkable house is the view. Oh, the view is magnificent. It's on a mountain bluff. It's close to the top of the mountain. There is the most wonderful vista of the valley below, and then a range after range after range of mountains, so far, far into the distance. It's so wonderful. It's all part of the Tennessee Valley. And then the back of the house faces south-southwest, and you can see that view out of the dining room, living room. Turn around, you can see it from the kitchen and from their bedroom and the screen porch and from the deck down. You can see it all over the place. It's great, just beautiful. Now, when I was there were like 2 or 2.5 days of very heavy rain, thunderstorms, high winds, and while I was there, the view would come and go with clouds, as it were, but it was still so cozy. You look out the windows, and everything was going back and forth, crazy. And there must have been 40-mile-an-hour winds, but you could hear it a little bit, not much. But the house was so solid that it was just impervious to the weather outside. It was safe and dry and comfortable. You know, in divine science, we make an effort to look at the metaphysical meaning of things. We just have a habit of doing that. What is the meaning behind words and things? We ask ourselves. We try to find analogies. We try to discover some kind of an inner meaning to things. And that's certainly what we do when we're reading the Bible, or when we're studying the New Testament like we are right now, certainly for the last couple of months. And it occurred to me that Trish and Lisa's house made a perfect analogy between how their house was constructed and how we can construct our mental and spiritual house of life. making it impervious to the gales and the heavy winds, the heavy weather of life. How can we live so we are in that state of comfort and peace and safety? Now, of course, in divine science we always start with that solid foundation, which is the omnipresence of God, on which all of divine science is based. But then, what we do when we come and we start listening to the ideas that we have is that we start to build mental walls, like the walls in Alabama. But they start with a heavy insulation against the heat, the cold, and the bugs. In other words, when we change our minds, when we look at life in a new way, in a more spiritual way, what we're really doing is shielding, to a great degree, we are shielding our thoughts and our attitudes, the ones we used to routinely keep in mind. We're shielding them from getting boiling hot or freezing cold with fear. We are changing the temperature of our minds. We're insulating ourselves against those things. We're no longer bugged by events or people because the buggy thoughts don't get inside us and eat on us as they might have once. We are attached to, we're part of, just like those walls, we're part of an immovable, permanent, concrete-like omnipresence. That's the heart of everything. That's what stabilizes the walls of our minds, of our lives. God is always with you. God is always available to help. God is always inspiring you if you'll just open yourself to it. God is always filled with the greatest love for you. And finally, there's even an inner insulation in our mental house. And what is that? Well, the inner insulation is, if we haven't quite made the habit of remembering the omnipresence, which is our main support, we're taught to use affirmations. That's the inner insulation. Get to a bad place, and we can't even think about God, but we can start remembering to use affirmations. The positive statements that remind us the truth of ourselves, of God, of the good, the blessings that are right here, that are presently invisible to us, but will become visible as we still ourselves, as we tune in to these walls that surround and protect us. God Himself. God Himself. Everybody has their favorite affirmations. I have mine. I do. Mine order is already established. That's one of my favorite ones. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. That's another one I love to use. It's a comfort. Thy will, thy way, always, all days. And I can't see my way through something. Okay. Whatever you will, Father. Let's do it. And just thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know, you say it over and over again, and it generates that feeling of inner peace, of positive expectation. Thank you, thank you. It somehow, in saying it, there's a feeling of certainty that things are going to unfold and it's going to be all right. It's going to come out good. And of course, down in Alabama, it isn't just the walls. It isn't just the foundation that makes a great spiritual analogy also. You know that geothermal unit? Heating and air conditioning system, 200-foot deep heights. That's another analogy that we can use. We need to regularly go down, 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 down deep within ourselves to what Jesus called the closet. That's what He called it. We need to get still every day. Meditation is not just something that's for once in a while. It is a lifeline if you use it daily. It changes your life for the better, of course. It keeps us at that constant spiritual temper so that we're always inwardly comfortable, just like the geothermal unit does for outer comfort. The outside can be super cold. It can be all sorts of things going on. It could be super hot. You're tempted to get upset. But no, it doesn't affect us as it once did, because that meditation, going deep, deep, deep within, keeps us inwardly comfortable. But like I said before, I think the very best feature of the house, hands down, is the view. That wonderful view. The fields down in the valley, they were greening up with the plants that had been coming up, and some other fields newly plowed, showing brown patches and orangey patches. And then beyond the hills and the mountains of blue, the mist, just range after range, beautiful, beautiful mountains. What a sight. But the view, that too can be used as another analogy. Another analogy to remind us of what view are we carrying in life. Is it beautiful? Or is there an expectation of something a great deal less than beauty? When we look through our spiritual eyes, and instead of life as it usually looks at it, we can begin to see that it is so much greater, so much wider, so much deeper. There are so many wonderful vistas in life, wonderful opportunities in life, so much more than we ever thought they might be. Once we're convinced that our primary identity isn't just physical, it isn't just the roles we filled or the labels that we or others have given us, when we begin asking ourselves some very important questions, things begin to change in our heads. That we might start by just saying to ourselves, I'm God's image. That's a wonderful way to start a meditation. I am God's image. I'm His child, eternally. I'm endowed with the Christ Spirit, the same inner qualities that Jesus had and expressed so beautifully. As an individualized expression of God, and that's another affirmation. I am God's individualized expression. That says it all. As His individualized expression, I'm an indispensable part of this universal plan, or I wouldn't be here. God has something special for me to do, to be, perhaps, to contribute, to stand up and gallantly work for, perhaps within myself, but perhaps out in the world. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go to another place or do something different than we're doing right now. It just means doing what we do right where we are with a different attitude. See, we're taking another view. Perhaps we plug in the attitude of service to God. And then somehow the irritations fall away. No, I'm doing this for God. I'm not doing this for money or for that person or to please somebody. No, I'm doing it for God. Or you might have the attitude, I'm going to do this better than I've ever done it before. Challenging ourselves. It could be that we remember to say to ourselves, God and I are doing this, especially when it's one of those things you don't like, or it's one of those things that you think, I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is, I've never done this before, I've done it before, but how do you do it now? And God and I will do it together. Might mind deciding every single morning when you wake up, I'm going to say a kind, encouraging word to someone who's discouraged or who's upset. Your divine errand for the day might be to see that that difficult, irritating person is somebody who is in great pain. It might mean deciding to set aside a little while today to pray for people. The important questions we might begin asking ourselves every morning might be, how can I add to my or somebody else's spiritual growth today? How? Show me, Father. Show me. Or we might say to ourselves, how big can I think today? How far out of the box? How can I be a more wonderful tool in God's hands today? Those are important questions. Wonderful questions. Let's take a larger view of that vista of life than we have taken before. Jesus told us to build our mental, emotional, and spiritual house on a rock. Actually, on the rock of truths that he had taught. He said, seek ye first the kingdom of God. First. And for us, that means seek the awareness of that divine presence that is in you and everyone, in everything, everywhere, all the time. Seek that. And then the other great foundation, that truth. Love God. Love yourself. Love everybody else. Yeah. So, let's build our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual house on the rock of those truths. Let's go within. Oh, Father, that's a big challenge, but I can do it. I am the individualized expression of God, undivided from God, buttressed though, protected, insulated from so much of the up and down, 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 up and down, 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 up and down, down of life. Insulated when I know that you are with me, within, around, in everything I do, everywhere I go, everywhere, everywhere. I want to see life in a new way, an exciting way, a way that shows me how I can be of greatest service to you. I want to grow. I yearn to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And I know I can with your help. All that I am, I give to you. And all that you are, you have already given to me. Thank you. Thank you, beloved Father. Amen.
What we're going to do when the saints come marching in, on page 37 in the hymnals, if you want to join in and sing with us, please. saints go marching in, I need them all again. All right. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in. Marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, me in their number, when the saints go marching in. Give yourself a hand, everybody. Give them a hand. Nice, what I call a New Orleans style clarinet. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. Now I'm going to do one, all righty? Oh, how he loves you and me. Oh, how he loves you and me. He gave his life. What more could he give? Oh, how he loves you. Oh, how he loves me. Oh, how he loves you and me. Jesus to Calvary to go. His love was sinners to show. What he did there, born up from despair. Oh, how he loves you. Oh, how he loves me. Oh, how he loves you and me. Oh, how he loves you and me. Oh, how he loves you and me. He gave his life. What more could he give? Oh, how he loves you. Oh, how he loves me. Oh, how he loves you and me.
It's now time for the blessing of the gifts. You'll find it in your orders of service. Let's all say together. Today, I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. Through me, God omnipresent, blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you, dear God.
Thank you. Oh, yes, that's right.
I'd like to pass the prayer basket now. Everyone knows what it's all about. And we invite you to help yourself by taking a name.
Good morning. And speaking of prayers, there's a lot of people, we passed the prayer basket, there's lots of names in there, but there are lots of folks in our congregation that are going through a lot of struggles. Some are health issues and some are others, and some of them don't want you to know and others do. And so I just ask today that you just keep everybody in this church family in prayer. Just take some time this weekend to do that. There's a lot of people that need some prayer, so we appreciate that. And as all of you know, Nancy was at the picnic yesterday, and she is doing a lot better, and so we're very grateful for that. And she will be starting chemo in a couple of weeks, but she'll be back to work this week. She's going to work a little bit at a time, and we'll see what happens. But I'm glad to see Pam back at church this morning, so yay. Okay, last week we elected officers for the board, and I'm still surprised at some people that don't know who the board members are. Especially when it comes to the one that says, I say, see Laurel, well, who's Laurel? She's the one that takes care of the money. So, okay, Melanie is not here today, she's not feeling well, but most of you know who Melanie is. If you don't, I will introduce her next week. But Laurel, this is the treasurer, would you stay? So this is the money lady. And Ann Dieter, Dale will be our new second vice president, and myself. And so there you go. We will be doing our best to take care of what needs to be done in the church for the next couple of years, and so appreciate all that they do. Cynthia's been on the board for several years. She's not here today, but we certainly do thank her for all that she has done over the years, not only on the board but otherwise. So looking forward to working with you, Dale. So we will have our first board meeting in a couple of weeks in June, okay? So anyhow, you know who they are. Now you don't have any questions. So next time a person says, I don't know who Laurel is, I'm going to smack them. Okay, starting next Sunday, first Sunday in the month, service starts 10:30. Back to the early service for the summer. Also, next Saturday, we still on for that, Wanda?
Yes.
Okay, next Saturday, we're going back to the warehouse that Wanda works at to work on the pallets that we did a couple months ago. And we made $200. We worked like 3 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that. So anybody that wants to go or willing to go help us out for a couple hours, we would really appreciate it. We'll probably go at 10, give people that work a little extra time on Saturday morning so they won't have to get up and at the crack of dawn. So anyhow, if you're going, I need to know so we'll know exactly about how many people we're going to have. And then as last time, we went to lunch afterwards. And so we just make a fun day out of it and made some money for the church too. Last time we made $200. So hope you can join us for that.
Jan?
Yes.
We also found out that we have 8 trucks that are sitting at Kroger waiting. We have 5 more that are sitting at Walmart waiting, and we have 7 more that are coming out of Tennessee. So if we want to do it more than one weekend, we can.
Okay. Well, we will certainly do another weekend in June. I'll look at the calendar. The following Saturday, we're going to breakfast at Scrambled. So that's our kind of day out. So we'll maybe do it the week after that. So, but we'll definitely do it. So again, maybe 3 times. Who knows? We'll see what we can work out. As I said, June the 10th will be our breakfast out as we're going back to Scramble downtown on the market. And did we decide what time?
We haven't discussed it yet.
Okay, well, we will discuss
We'll
that.
discuss it
Okay, all right. Don't forget about, we're collecting change for the church. So any extra change you have, we have a box back there. So please throw your change in there. We do have some things that need to be done around the church. The main thing is that and we talked about this last year, we need to have the eaves under the church and the front of the church painted. And I'm getting an estimate on that hopefully this week. So that's the main thing that has to be done. But we've got some other little minor things that need to be done. But so we need to raise some money to take care of these items. Let's see, Jerry sponsored the flowers for this week. Thank you very much, Jerry. Also, May is Federation Month, so May's almost over. Doesn't mean you can't join after that, but anyhow, we push it in May. So if anyone's interested in joining the Federation, I've got the brochures back in the back. And please join us after the service today for the Columbarium Remembrance Service. We're going to start around 12:30 as soon as we can get out of here and get outside. And So two other things. We desperately need some ushers. We only have 2 people that are ushering right now, that's Laurel and Becky. Dale has agreed to usher some, but we
Once a month.
once a month. So we need some ushers. It's not going to hurt you. If I can stand up here, y'all can usher us. So I don't want to have to call people and say, please usher us. That we really would like some volunteers. And it's a service to the church that you can do, and it doesn't really cost you anything, just a little bit of your time. And as you see, it only takes a couple minutes to come up here and collect the money and turn the lights off. So we really appreciate it. We've got people that do the pulpit assistant and they do other stuff. And so we really would like to have some ushers. So we really appreciate any help we can get with that. We had a great time yesterday at the picnic. For those that did not come, you missed a really good time. Master Chef over here, Willer, he did a wonderful job. I'll take a picture of that. He did a wonderful job. We had a great time. We're going to do this again. I think it's in September. We'll go back to the same park over here. It's close for everybody. And Dale can roll right over there. So we're going to put it on the calendar and do it again. So hopefully.
I was surprised how many people didn't know it even existed.
Well, I was one of those that didn't know until Kate told me. So what are you talking about? So it's just really close to the church, and it worked out really well. So we're having it in September. So please put it on your calendar so that you can come to that. I mean, we had a really good time and learned a new game that I didn't even know about. So maybe way before my time, I guess. I don't know, after my time or something. But yeah, it was fun.
After your time.
After my time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Clear that up.
Excuse me. Oh, you just pretended, that's all. And one last thing is that this is Memorial Weekend, and I know that we all celebrate, but let's don't forget why we have our freedoms that we have. People gave their lives, and so did animals, to have the freedoms that we have. So take a little bit of time this weekend, even though you're cooking out or whatever, to remember the ones that gave their lives for this country and for the freedoms that we have every day. We're able to be right here today because of that. So take some time to give thanks. Thank you.
Well, I have to, we'll be able to run off those.
Yes, ma'am, I got them back there.
Where did you get them? Okay. We're going to be finishing up the New Testament in a couple of weeks. But we thought that we would start something new. And that is the teaching company puts out DVDs and actually things you can listen to in your car on a great variety of courses. And they are taught by the outstanding professors at various universities around the country. And I don't know where they are, but Jan's getting copies of them. We picked out a half a dozen of these. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Half a dozen of these great courses, and they go from exploring the New Testament using modern day tools like archaeology and biblical scholarship, literary analysis, and that sort of thing. Early Judaism's influence on Jesus, and all the things that influenced him and influenced the Gospels. The sacred texts of the world, that is the Bhagavad Gita, the Vedas, Zoroaster, the Torah, Buddhism, Zen, Confucianism, Taoism, New Testament, Book of Mormon, Islam, Sufism, Baha'i, and so forth and so on. And so we would have a lecture. They're half-hour lectures. And so we thought we would listen to or watch a half-hour lecture and then discuss it. Talk about what we thought of it and how, it might affect us. Was it so different from divine science? Or maybe it's very different, maybe it's a lot. And if possible, do a second half-hour talk of the DVD, I should say. Another one was the Dead Sea Scrolls. We've heard about them. But what do they say, actually? A whirlwind tour of important ancient civilizations like Sumer, Mesopotamia, Hammurabi, Egypt in the Pyramid Age, new peoples of the Bronze Age, the Jews, the Assyrians, and so forth and so on. The peoples that existed long ago But some of their ideas are alive and well today. Answering life's biggest questions. What is the meaning of life and how do we find it? And so it's a wide-ranging exploration of Eastern and Western spiritual, religious, and philosophical traditions. Again, the Gita, Aristotle, Job, Confucius, Buddha, Zen, Hume, Tolstoy, Gandhi, the Dalai Lama, and so forth. So it's going to be on a love offering basis. It'll take maybe an hour and a half, maybe a little longer if everybody gets excited and talks. But I'm going to be giving these out. And if you're interested, check off the one or two that you might be interested in. And we would have it on Wednesdays at the time that was most convenient for the most people. So I'll give it to you. Let's see, I'll give you part of them and then I'll hand it over to this side. And
I may have to run off some more, but if I do, I'll...
yeah, if we need to run off more, just if you're interested, pass it around, and I thank you so much. We're going to have some fun with this.
Our final hymn today will be number 85, An Endless Love Abiding. We'll sing both verses. Number 85, An Endless Love Abiding. We'll sing both verses.
Yes, thank you. I think we'll...
And we're hand in hand. We're hand in hand, affirming within ourselves and to each one in this group that yes, I can build walls, mental walls around myself, spiritual walls that insulate me from the winds of life, the difficulties. Everything is softened, everything is quieted, everything is healed. For we are one, each and all, with an infinite presence that loves us beyond our imagining. We can see the vistas of life in new ways and contribute more and receive more as well. We are blessed beyond words, because God and I, God and everyone is one. For this blessed knowledge, for this support, for this vista of life and its possibilities, we say, thank you, beloved one. Amen.
Amen.
Is that God talking?